New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Knick Of Time Show. Here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And it's time to once again celebrate a Knicks win. Gunshots for these Knicks. All right, because the Knicks beat the Wolves. 7. RJ Barrett gives you 22 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals on the night. Julius Randle, no handles. Randle still give you 5 turnovers, but 31 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and a career high tying 8 threes for Julius Randle. Jalen Brunson, Mr. Steady, gives you 23 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds. Obadiah, Young Duncan Delight, gives you 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. The Knicks finished with 26 assists on the night, shooting 19 of 48 from 3, 39%, and dismantled the short-handed Wolves tonight. And I expected it. I picked the Knicks to win. This is the day we all picked the Knicks to win, and we were right. And we are going to talk about all of us being right and celebrating the fact that we are right and we didn't blow a fourth quarter lead and we actually put this game away, unlike the Hawks, and won in convenient and dominating fashion. But before we get into the details of the game, let me introduce my guy. I call him the Latin Assassin. It is my man who writes for Posting and Toasting, Deadspin, and also about to write his first piece for ESPN, my man Lee Escobedo. What's going on, Lee?
Let's go, man. I was clutching my pearls, man. I thought we don't blow that lead and give away another one. But, man, Tibbs did not Tibbs tonight. I'm happy that we saw another Obi Randle front court. I'm ready to talk some chat some Knicks and talk about that win.
Tibbs was not tibbing tonight. Matter of fact, he started off the game with more untib-like activity. First, a couple of games ago, he starts the game and he starts Cam Reddish, Nick Twitter fan favorite, and then he reaches into the third string, plucks Jericho Sims into the starting lineup from not playing to playing barely 5 minutes to starting against Karl Anthony Towns. Not like the Tibbs that I know, but and I'm glad he did it because you know what? I was looking at the lineup and I'm going, Isaiah Hartenstein versus Karl Anthony Towns. This doesn't seem like it's going to go well. So I'm glad he did it. What did you think about that matchup of Sims versus Karl Anthony Towns?
I think he did it for a couple of reasons. One, Hartenstein has had pretty good chemistry with that second unit, playing alongside IQ and Derrick Rose in like a tertiary playmaking role, which he's excelled in. He's also a much weaker rebounder than Mitchell Robinson. So I think that was probably the primary concern, is that Tibbs didn't want to give up too many offensive boards to the Wolves with Karl Anthony Towns down low. So he thought maybe, it'd spice it up and give Sims some opportunity there, who's a very good rebounder. I might even argue in limited minutes, he's as efficient as Mitchell Robinson is on boards. And if that doesn't work out, then you come out with that second unit with Hartenstein playing off the bench. I thought it was a smart move, as well as a very limited minutes for Evan Fournier was a really smart move too.
Yeah, I think the foot speed and the strength of Sims gives us a different look from Sims and Hartenstein. We have a pretty good group of talented centers that we can kind of switch and play matchups with. I wish that we actually would have done this against the Bucks. I wish we would have seen Jericho versus the greatest, the MVP candidate and Giannis Antetokounmpo versus the Bucks. I just feel like physically he's more matched to try to go with him and waste some fouls. But like he did an admirable job. First play out the gate, blocks Anthony Edwards. Sit down, young man. Sit down. Falls to the floor. It is embarrassing. Matter of fact, I don't know. Today, Anthony Edwards looks like he was eating too much Popeye's chicken. He looked all the way out of it.
He did. You know, when I first saw the Jericho Sims start, I was like, man, this kind of feels like Larry Brown, where it's like wherever a player's from, that's who's going to start. Because I know Sims is from Minnesota. But man, Sims ended up balling out. I think he brought some good energy and might have messed up Chris Finch's, the head coach of the Timberwolves, game plan for New York. They were probably steaming, knowing that Hartenstein was going to start and game planning for him on offense and defense. And Sims really surprised with his boundless energy on the rebounding side. It really didn't send some nice strings for our guards as well on offense. So I was pleased all around with the effort. It's all you can ask for your third string center. And we might have the best third string center in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, this guy, he pretty much played excellent defense on Kevin Durant when we faced up against the Nets. And, you know, we got the Nets coming up next. So what a good time for Sims to warm up and get ready for that Nets matchup. But shout out to Sims. Got a lot of quick fouls, but, you know, got 4 rebounds and intimidated certain people and gave Julius Randle a breather that he's going to need, because we don't need Julius Randle playing 48 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. 4 rebounds and a block in 17 minutes, I can live with that. That's pretty solid production.
Right.
Especially against Karl-Anthony Towns.
Especially against Karl-Anthony Towns and from your third string center, who was the 58th pick in the draft. I'll take that any day of the week. But what I really want to get into right now is Julius Randle, man. Julius Randle comes in here, goes 8. The scouting report for Julius Randle is let this man shoot. Give him all the room he needs. He's in the teens when it comes to 3-point shooting. But I think everybody but Julius Randle read that scouting report and he let them fly. To the point where at the end of the game, he's shooting step back threes. Was he watching James Harden videos before he played this game? Because he seemed like he's on another level today.
Yeah, I think with Randle, it was kind of a tale of two players. There were some moments there in the fourth quarter when the T-Wolves started coming back that I was like, man, these isolation plays and spin moves and poor rebounding and not getting back on defense. He was kind of up to some of his old tricks. But then if you looked at his game and holistically, he really had a really solid outing, not just on the 3-point line, but he also did, he was solid across the board. 2 offensive boards for a total of 8, 3 assists, 5 or 6 from free throws, which is the entire team, I thought, shot very well from the line, which has been an Achilles heel for everyone, top to bottom, on the Knicks. And Randle really came through again, leading the way in the rebound stats, plus or minus 4. I think it's plus or minus 4 of a team. So he was pretty solid in that regard too.
When it comes to Julius Randle, I can look that up very quickly.
I think you had a plus or minus 4.
Let's see. Julius Randle, he's plus 4 on the night.
Yeah.
Plus 4 on the night. Pretty much everyone was a plus except for Cam, who was a -2. But I'll give Cam
good defense.
Huh?
Cam played great defense on switches tonight.
Yeah. In fact, I feel like the whole team was looking at that Celtics tape and going, "No, sir, not today." I already know how Tibbs goes. I already know it was like 2-hour film session of what to fix. So I expected a certain intensity when they were guarding 3 today. And on top of that, let's be real now. The Timberwolves aren't the creme de la creme of 3-point shooting teams. They haven't really been shooting the 3 that well this season. D'Lo was shooting 27% from 3 before he even came in today. And he don't shoot at a high level either. High volume, I mean. Go ahead, Lee.
No, I was just say I think to me D'Lo's, I wouldn't say he's washed, but his career's on a downturn, man. He just didn't look good tonight. Brunson got whatever he wanted in the mid-range and the paint on him. Yeah. He couldn't keep Brunson in front of him. It's just there's something about his fit in Minnesota that's never really worked out. I think they need a lot more shooting from that position and in both guard positions to really build properly around Cat and Gobert. I feel like they might make a trade here in the midway point to upgrade over D'Lo. He just did not look good on defense.
Yeah. he's never looked good to the defense. There was times when he was balling in Brooklyn and Knicks fans wanted to trade for him, and I was like,
I remember that.
Bruh. I need stay away from him, please, please. I did not want that man in Knicks uniform, and yeah, he's sinking fast. They're looking to trade him. I would be shocked if he stays here by the trade deadline. For sure. But back to the Knicks, and you're the number one Julius Randle hater. Are you buying the change? He's smiling more, Lee. Come on, he's smiling.
You know, you asked me early on this season when he was really, I think it was game 3 when he was really balling, and he looked a completely changed man on and off the court. If I would still trade him, and without hesitancy, I said yes. And it's funny that I issued a piece today that came out for Post and Toasting on why the Knicks should not be fooled by this early start and still look to trade Randle before a deadline, not include picks, but did a good package for him because of his increased play and efficiency. And I still stand by that. The Knicks are not in any situation where we're going to be a contender in the next 2 years with this roster standing pat. If we keep missing or declining on trading for stars because of the offer that it might entail, which so far Rose has been right, especially on Donovan Mitchell, and we keep building around Obi on the bench, Randle starting, Mitch, RJ Brunson, that at best is a 7th seed. We're not going to be contending. It's really going to take moving Randle and getting back a decent pick package and losing significantly for the rest of that season, and then trying to go after someone that summer and hoping that Obi really turns into his own as a starter the following season. It's going to be an up, down, and up trend in order for us to really derail around what we built around Randle as our centerpiece and move on toward Obi taking his spot. And I think it's worth it. For me, it is.
I don't see us moving Randle at the trade deadline, to be honest with you. If we start, actually treading water and being around a 500 team, I feel like they're going to want to see this through into the playoffs. If anything, I feel like any move for Randle is going to happen in the off season, if that's going to happen at all. That's just me personally. I can't see Leon just pulling the plug, pulling a move that big during the mid-season mark. During the mid-season mark.
I think that would be a mistake. I think this is a season with Randle starting off hot. You want to ride that momentum. And there's a lot of teams right now. They're in this weird in-between place. There's a lot of bad teams that are overachieving and a lot of good teams that are underachieving. This is a time to really seek the trade market and figure out what teams are willing to overpay to add a piece who is a 20-10 guy, 20-5 at that on a down year, who can give you maybe that extra oomph to go over the line and really contend come April, May, and June. I think this is the year to really sell high on Randle, and I think there will be buyers come the trade deadline.
Interestingly enough, if we keep Randle, I do believe we will. I can see this 3 of Randle. Listen, what's been holding Barrett and Randle back so long was shooting. It seems like that loss to the Celtics has kind of motivated them to concentrate on that side of the ball a little bit more and be more comfortable in letting it fly. You heard Randle say it in his post-game interview that Derrick Rose spoke to the team, and the Knicks took 27 threes last game, and the Celtics made 27 threes. So they're being more encouraged to take a lot more shots. So the success of this team and the starting lineup in particular is going to now depend on the shooting of Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. If those guys start to shoot, it's a wrap, because the way Jalen Brunson starts to go to the hole and cause havoc and live down there, I can see him really causing havoc, and we might have 3 20-point scorers on the team at the same damn time.
I can't remember the last time that was the case. Huh? When's the last time we had 3 20-point scorers on the team? It's been a long time.
I don't know, but it seems like it's trending that way. It's funny because even RJ Barrett today, 22 points, 42% from 3. He was trending up when it came to finishing, but today not so much, 38% from the field. But here's the thing. His free throws are still up
Yeah.
over 80%. And that's going to keep him to go over that threshold to the 20, 21, 22 points per game. And even though he only shot 38%, for most of the game, he was pretty efficient. I think where it got shaky is the end of the game, where it got a little bit tight. People started missing threes, and then RJ Barrett was like, all right, cool, I'm going to go to the hole. And he started missing layups, but he still got to the foul line. So, and it's funny enough, I'm starting to feel like they're finding a little bit of synergy.
I agree with that. I do think I'll remain a pessimist on the idea of the Knicks' success depending on their shooting from the starting five, because Mitch obviously gives you nothing in terms of spacing. But all four of Randle, RJ, and Cam have all been very inconsistent three-point shooters throughout their career. Brunson's been a pretty solid three-point shooter, but he shoots at a very low rate. He's only at like 3 or 4 a game.
Right.
So you're really depending a lot on Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle. 3 guys that have gone really high spikes, really high up and down in their short careers to be consistent threats from the perimeter with the lack of spacing from Mitchell Robinson and the limited attempts from Jalen Brunson. That's just not a formula that I think can sustain long term to depend on for us to make the playoffs. I think there needs to be an additional shakeup, either in a starting lineup or via trade, to help boost that.
And you're most likely right. But you know what? It's funny. Like, there is certain space that can happen when you have Mitch run pick and roll Jalen Brunson and they have to collapse it to control the lob. It's just that Julius Randle has to be able to hit those open threes for that space to actually happen. But I mean, we'll see. This might be this is admiration, right? I do believe that Julius Randle's shooting isn't as bad as it was last year, and I don't believe it was as good as it was in his All-Star year either. I feel like it's gonna be somewhere in between. I'm be curious to see where it ends up when the season ends. I feel like it's probably gonna end up more about the 36% or something. That's what I'm thinking anyway.
Fair number.
Huh?
I think that's a fair number. And Randle, I want to give Randle his flowers because he was definitely a major part of why we were able to build and sustain a really large lead against a fairly good team. It's missing their defensive anchor, but still good nonetheless. And usually is a hot team from the perimeter. But to me, the player of the game was RJ Barrett. I love the energy I saw from him. I love how he put his head down, got to the rim, finished around the rim. He hit 3 threes early in the game too to help us build a lead. Finished with 22 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and played along with Cam Reddish very good defense on Anthony Edwards. I thought they did a good job keeping him in front of him, getting him out of his sweet spots, and forcing him to take long mid-range jumpers. Man, I was very happy with the performance from RJ Barrett, who's not a perfect player himself, but every game it's a little bit better and doesn't allow his lapses from the previous effort to affect him game to game.
RJ Barrett had Anthony Edwards on his mind. Everybody remember. I'm almost have to find this damn clip right now.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm about to find it because you remember Anthony Edwards post-game show, post-game interview last season said to the interviewer, "We planned on leaving RJ Barrett open," and I know every time RJ Barrett hit a 3. I know his mom was like, "Yeah, leave me open. Whack. Yeah, leave me open. Whack." Like, I know that's what he was thinking. And he held Anthony Edwards, aka the Popeye chicken man, to a low percentage. 5 for 14 today, 35.7% from the field, and 14.3% from 3, 1 of 7. And I call him the Popeye chicken man because Karl Anthony Towns heard about his diet and he wasn't pleased. He was just kind of like, "Yeah, I think you should be eating less chicken and concentrating on it."
He's on my diet.
Yeah, he should not be on a Lee Escobedo diet. All right, you an athlete.
You're an NBA player, man. Step it up.
Did you hear Walt Frazier call him fat? And then Mike Breen was like, "No, he's not fat." That's not what he said. He's like, "Yeah, Cat called him fat. Cat didn't call him fat." Yo, man, I love Walt, yo.
Me too. Nothing better than a Walt Breen game, man. Icing on the cake for a good win.
Absolutely. Yo, salute to the chat. $2 super chat from Samir Sariano. He just says salute. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to Samir. And shout out to the chat. Shout out to JT Riddick. Shout out to Sherwin. Shout out to my man Delano. Shout out to Craig Ward. Shout out to Winston Ellis. Shout out to Boston Nick and everybody else is rocking with the KOT show. Sorry the music is so loud, guys. I didn't realize it was that loud. It sounds different in my headphones than YouTube, of course. But we back now. We back and better than ever. Unsung hero. Listen. Oh, wait. Also, too, there's no Fritz here. But I am manning the phones by myself right now. So if you want to call in, you can dial that number at 319-527-6241. That's 319-527-6241. Sherwin M says Minnesota's defense was awful. Minnesota, this is why I feel like we could have beat them. The thing about Minnesota was you heard all season about how they check out defensively for periods of time. And they don't really try. And listen, we had 18 assists in the first half, 11 in the first quarter. And sometimes I'm looking at their defense. I'm like, yo, what are you doing here? They doubled RJ a few times. They did a few little wonky things where I feel like their defense was trash. But for me, when the game blew open was when that second unit came in. Ended the first quarter. 4 minutes to go. Julius Randle hits threes. What? He hits like 4 in a row. Tom Thibodeau calls timeout. Not even call timeout. He just takes Julius Randle out. In my head, Lee, I'm like, bruh, the time when I want you to lead Julius Randle in the game, he's draining threes like nobody's business, and Tom Thibodeau tips it up and takes him out the game. And he usually does that with the bench, but he actually did that with Randle today. I was kind of perplexed and confused. But
yeah, I was too. I think that was the only moment that I was like, Tibbs is tipping, was that when he pulled Randle after he was hot as hell in that first quarter.
Yeah, I was like, he pulled like a Uno reverse. You know, maybe he thought that was Obi. He was like, ooh, Obi's getting too hot. Pull him out. I was like, oh, wait, no. I don't know. That was just a weird decision. That was just a very weird decision.
I heard you mention earlier about an unheralded player of a game. I'm excited to get into that because I have one that might surprise you. But go ahead.
Okay. I'll let you rock with that one after I tell the bench, because the bench, listen, we were up by like 3 in the first quarter. I think it was like 25-28 or something like that. And the bench comes in and Obi and IQ smack the Timberwolves in the face. Like, it was like stop after stop, floater, swing pass, swing pass, swing pass, 3 from Obi, swing pass, swing pass, another floater from IQ. I was just like, yo, what's going on? Deflections was happening, steals were happening. I looked up at halftime, guys. At halftime, we have forced Minnesota into 12 turnovers by halftime. And we scored 25 points off those 12 turnovers by halftime. Next thing you know, we get in transition fouls, and I look up, I'm like, yo, we playing phenomenal defense. Our second unit has done it again. The second unit is playing so well that Evan Fournier becomes like a defensive guru all of a sudden and gets like 2 steals, throws Sims like a little alley. And I'm just like, okay, Fournier. FIBA Fournier is back. I was like, okay, I can get used to this. I gotta give a big shout out to that bench, because the bench really blew the game open. So after struggling for a lot of these games, the OB-IQ connection really blew the game open in the first to second quarter, and it gave the first unit a cushion for the first time in a long time.
It's just so nice having Derrick Rose lead that unit, man. I think it's a privilege that not many teams have, to have a former MVP coming off your bench,
right,
corralling offense and allowing young players who are, some of them, prone to making mistakes, Hartenstein's included in that, as well as Obi and Quickly, but just Rose is just such a calm and steady hand out there, not just on the court because he doesn't score at the same rate that he used to, not even like the rate he used to 2 seasons ago, but he's so intelligent, and he's always talking to Obi and Quickly specifically on how to see the floor, how to take advantage of mismatches, how to cut into the teeth of a defense, and really when they're hot or even when they miss, to really talk them back into their confidence, but keep shooting. And Obi has really benefited a lot from that, playing alongside Rose, and Quickly has less pressure on having to be the facilitator. And we just go out there and cook, and he was hyper efficient today. I hope my dad's watching that. Quickly was not a bum tonight. My boy played some great defense off the bench. And you're right. I think Quickly, of all the bench guys, Quickly played the best defense, especially on the perimeter against the Minnesota bums.
Yeah, they smacked him in the face and forced a lot of turnovers. It was the combination of him and Rose and even Evan really forced a lot of turnovers. And listen, even Obi Toppin looked really good defensively today.
I thought so too.
He looked really good defensively today. Rebounded the ball, 7 rebounds on the night. I think he had a career high in steals, 4 steals, career high 4 steals, 15 points. The man is shooting. He's 37% from 3. Obi's looking all right, man. It seems like Obi Toppin is turning the corner. And I see it. I keep saying, I've been saying this since last season. If this man gets like starters minutes, he's gonna average 20. Like easy. I already know it. I can already see it.
I see the chat being critical of Toppin and Quickly on defense, but I think that's minute compared to the effort that they both have been putting forward this season more than last. And not only that, their help defense specifically has really improved on rotations where Tibbs is switching, especially IQ. IQ really knows when to help out and when not to, which just shows the amount of tape and game preparation Tibbs is putting his guys through in order for them to succeed on the defensive end. Quickly's gotten a lot better in his intuition on knowing when to drag off of his and help out with a guy who the game plan is scheming for that player to score. He's just a lot more smarter, and OB is too. Props to the young guy and they're putting in the work.
For sure. And Clark kind of mentioned it too. And it's kind of the opposite of the Celtics game. I didn't feel like IQ was really that good defensively in the Celtics game. But in this game, he helped out a lot, especially when it came to Cat. It's funny. It's funny how Randle and RJ were helping off of like Jaylen Brown to help to double Marcus Smart in the post, and Marcus Smart is trying to post Cam Reddish, but they wasn't helping them to double to help Hartenstein when Cat is posting him. Like things like that be baffling. But the second unit seemed like they were actually trying to help the helper. So kudos to the second unit.
Agreed.
Kudos to the second unit, man. And also, I also got to point out too, the coach, when it came, like we talked about trickling in the first unit with the second unit and not doing these hardcore substitutions, 5 out, 5 in. And I think that also helped in that second half as well. I mean, that second quarter, we started to take out Derrick Rose. I think there was a unit one time. It was like RJ Barrett with Jalen Brunson, with IQ, with Obi, with Evans, and they were kind of like sprinkling in half bench, half starters. I think Tibbs has to do that a lot more moving forward when it comes to how he runs his substitution.
Well, man. That way you're building chemistry. I think one of the pitfalls of last season was that Tibbs was doing those hockey substitutions, 5 in, 5 out. And a lot of the time when guys would have a little bit of crossover, the offense and defense would both stall because people aren't used to having that rhythm of playing with other guys and knowing what to expect on both sides of the ball. Like, you got to have a little bit of that mixture. Yeah. And I think Hartenstein is a nice bridge for the starting unit and the bench because he brings a lot of facilitation as a post player that allows for cutters and wide open threes to actually get the ball to move and find them and get those easy buckets to gain some rhythm on the offensive side. So it's a big, huge upgrade over Nerlens Noel, who brought nothing on that in terms of a backup center. So yeah, good on Tibbs, man. I think he's starting to learn some of his own faults, and he even came back with that Obi and Randle tandem in the fourth quarter, which I was really happy to see again. It wasn't as effective as it was last game, but it had its moments offensively.
Yeah, well, like when you have both guys shooting threes like that, then it changes everything. It really changes everything. You get that space. It's just one of those things where, all right, Mitch is out right now, so we're starting to do this more. I'm hoping in the future, what Tibbs does is kind of play more to the matchups a little bit more. You know what I mean? Even after Mitch is back, now that you can see that this is kind of working in stretches, when we have certain teams that don't have like the big shot blockers in the middle, that's going to be, you know, those big behemoths like the Gold Bears or the Capellas of the world. Maybe we should start to think about going in this direction a little bit more to open things up. Gives Jalen Brunson a little bit more room to operate and, you know, have us play small ball. Like, this is what we really need from Tibbs to grow moving forward. And hopefully the steps that Obi has taken defensively and this little weak run without Mitch is going to give Tom Thibodeau a little bit more confidence that, you know, we can pull games out with Obi Randle lineup in the future.
Great point, Jay Ellis. And I think in the Philadelphia game, that should have been an opportunity for him to start Obi and Randle together, because with Embiid out, you have Montrezl Harrell. What other excuse do you have not to allow for some experimentation in the front court? But he still went to Hartenstein. And granted, he did go to those two guys in the fourth quarter, which helped win the game. But I would have liked to seen a little bit more diversity when the opportunity presents itself. And there's really no reason why Montrezl Harrell is not going to cook you in the post. He might give you some good energy, some rebounding, some offensive boards, but he's not a threat that you really have a game plan for and even give double teams out. And I'm glad that he went with that duo in the paint. So I think Obi and Randle is really tough to guard when both their three balls are dropping, because they're both better than average passers. And Randle's rebounding has been exceptional this season.
Yeah, as if every season, as is every season. Although I'm not complaining too much because I got to see some Sims today, so I'll take it with a grain of salt. I'll just take that with a grain of salt. But salute to the chat. I saw we got a super chat just came in. It says, great job tonight, guys. I like starting Sims and keeping Hart off the bench. Cam should stay in the starting five, brings great defense. I live in ATL, saw him play here. Glad he's getting some burn. Yeah, I think Cam is solidified at this point. He's not going anywhere.
He better be.
There's no
I was
way.
wrong. I'm okay with admitting that.
There's no way.
He's played phenomenal. I love his energy.
Yeah. And at this point, you know, he's miles ahead, better defensively than Evan Fournier. We just kind of need his length. But on top of that, even if Grimes comes back, first of all, what's up with Grimes in the first place? This foot thing is really starting to worry me, to only play a few minutes and then start to miss 2 games in a row. I don't know, man. It's sounding weird, really plantar fasciitis-y. It's seeming like I don't even want him to play. I need to give him like a month. I want to give him like another month off, to be honest with you. Like, I don't want to rush him back.
Yeah, with the Knicks too, they're just on notoriously tight lips. So even if it is plantar fasciitis, they're never going to admit that until they absolutely have to through like a medical report. Like we don't have silence on that issue until their hand is forced to say something. So the fan base is kind of left worst case scenario. That's where my mind's gone too. And I think about if he is out of the rotation for a while or his career is hindered from this foot injury, and where are we on the perimeter? We go from having some depth to having some weaknesses, especially with Fournier almost being played out of the rotation. It's time for us to go out and maybe look to get another perimeter guy, someone with some size and length that can hit the 3 ball and defend at least the 1 through 3.
Right. I mean, we have what's my man that we just signed from the G League?
Ferran Hunt?
Yeah, we got Ferran Hunt in the win.
Oh, you know I love Ferran.
Yo, we can fucking Ferran. He's long.
Ferran Hunt Hive.
Yeah.
Gotta start that right now, the Ferran Hunt Hive.
The Ferran Hunt Hive. You the first member of the Ferran Hunt Hive, man. We can start that today.
Membership 1. It's just me, bro.
1. Yo, I'm coming. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Ferran Hunt Hive is still alive. Let's do it.
He played great in Summer League. He really did.
He
He
did.
ran the floor really well. He rebounded really well. Had good instincts. He had that at SMU. He was more of a primary attacking perimeter guy. Plays a small ball four and had a good 3-point shot. But I think he can be a solid third man on the perimeter if Grimes is out for another month or two.
I agree. I agree. But that's not going to happen. Evan Fournier is still here to stay. And truthfully,
Who
he
is?
played. He played all right today. He played decent. I
He
mean,
was
he
my
had those.
unheralded player.
Huh?
He's my unheralded player, Evan
He's
Fournier.
okay. Okay. Unheralded player, Evan Fournier. Speak your stuff.
I give him some props for handling this demotion with a certain level of grace and team first mentality. The guy's been a starter for what, the last 5 or 6 seasons, going back to his days in Orlando, having some playoff success, being the second or third option, depending on how you saw Aaron Gordon behind Vucevic on that team. And now he's damn near out the rotation. I mean, he's played 12 minutes this game, 11 minutes game before, 14 minutes game before, and scored a total of 7 points combined. Like, this is not what he's used to being a starter, getting at least 14 to 13 looks a game. All his stats are down across the board, but the best stat of a night, as the chat has noticed, 3 assists. He's still looking for his young teammates, trying to get them involved, and really hasn't, supporting the team and really cheering for Cam being inserted to the starting lineup above him, who took over Grimes' spot. Like, the Tibbs has really seen Fournier as a last ditch attempt option. And when his shot's not there, I love that Tibbs is pulling him and now allowing him to be a negative out there on defense. His facilitation really, I think, was oversold to us. I've always thought in Orlando that Fournier was able to get some things done on the offensive end, have a more of a 3-level scoring threat. We have not seen that since his time in New York. Maybe it's a system. Maybe it's the players he's playing next to. I'm not sure. But I've been happy and proud of Fournier accepting his bench role with a level of grace and humility.
It's the system. It's the system. He's had the ball a lot more in his hands in Orlando, so he has more opportunity to kind of play make. Right here, he's fourth option, so he's not going to be dribbling down the lane, causing passes. Actually, we saw it towards the end of last season. He was playmaking a little bit more towards last season. But it really is the system. But you are absolutely correctly. He did look out of sorts moving to the bench, but it's kind of to be expected sometime when you're playing with new people and you're trying to figure out where do I fit in this system versus the last system. And sometimes it just takes time to get acclimated to a new style. But similarly enough, man, it looks like the way they passed the ball in that second unit, it kind of reminded him of freaking FIBA play. So he might fit in more with that unit,
Or, to add to that, I thought about once Mitch comes back and Hartenstein's like fully cemented as a backup center, there's a similarity between him and Vucevic in the way they play. And there might be some give and go there in the 2-man game between Fournier and Hartenstein that they could develop as time goes on. Because, I mean, Hartenstein can pass out of the high post. He can hit the 3 as we've seen, and he can do a little bit give and go in the pick and roll with that was guard tandem of Quickly and Rose.
Right. And then you can probably utilize his passing a little bit more with all those guys are kind of committed to passing in that second unit. It could work out. Because that first unit, I mean, they're more talented offensively, but it's like they go through these big lapses where they don't pass the ball. It seems like they only pass the ball to like each other most of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Jalen, he's gonna pass it to RJ and Randall, Mitch every now and again on the lob. Like that's that's just the way it goes over there. So he might fit in better on that second unit. Stay tuned. And unfortunately, we might not even see Grimes with the second unit for a while. So we'll see what happens on that end. We'll see. Hopefully Grimes comes back soon. Get well soon, Grimes. All right, yo. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Alexander. Shout out to Delano Steele. Shout out to everybody else rock with the KOT show. I think it's a good place to end it. It's late after midnight.
One thing.
What's up?
I got one thing I want to get off my chest before we go.
Oh, let's go.
So, I start a lot of crap with Matt fans, man. I'm always down here like, I'm always down here blasting them, because I think they're just a bum fan base. And something I hear a lot in their responses to me is they love to drag RJ Barrett. They think RJ Barrett is a definition of mid. They think he's a bum. They think he's overrated. We think we overpaid him. And I just want to give some props and flowers to RJ Barrett over his last 3 games. Let me drop these stats on you. 22.7 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3.7 assists, a steal, 51% field goal percentage, 37% from 3, 85% from the line. And he's holding his opponents to 42% from the field during his 3-game stretch. Not bad for Broadway Barrett. Let's give the man some flowers.
Not bad. And listen, even with the 3-point shooting, before he even went off Boston, I was on Still Knicks fans talking with those guys, and I'm just like, yo, listen, I know RJ's still missing, but I've been watching these players. I can see the difference in his form and his shot from preseason to the beginning of the season to now. Like, even though he was missing for like 2 or 3 games, the form and the confidence and the calmness he was shooting it was more closer to the preseason form when he was hitting it. So I was talking to Still Knicks fan guys. I'm like, even though he's missing, the ball's going in and out. It's going to start to drop soon. And then literally that night, he goes off from 3, drops 27 points. Today he shoots 42% from 3. Like I already said, before this game, he was at 63% from the rim. It probably is going to drop a little bit today because he went a little bit off the rails towards the end. But the free throw shooting is still up. And even though it dropped a little bit today, I could just tell that the technique on the concentration on how he's finishing is being more consistent. Like when RJ makes it a point to use his frame and his body to get into people first before he puts the ball in, he's a lot more successful at finishing shots, getting and ones and things of that nature. And especially when there's nights when there's no shot block like Gobert, he's going to eat. So I expect to see a little bit more of that going forward from RJ Barrett, and I think he's gonna be a fine. I feel like the free throws is here to stay. The rim shots, the shots at the rim is gonna have his field goal percentage creep up, and hopefully he'll be like around 35, 36 from 3 by halftime too. We'll see. When I say halftime, I mean February. Go ahead, Ree.
I can take some bums and some Spencer Dinwiddie jerseys, dragging my man RJ Barrett, because I understand they don't actually watch any games that aren't Maverick games. But for Mav fans on Twitter to continually drag this kid, and let's remind him, he's a kid. He's 22 years old. He's 22 in his 4th season. The man is apt to make mistakes. We should give him a level of understanding that he's done to mess up. He's going to start the season slow. We know these things already. And it doesn't mean that we don't critique him, because we should hold him accountable, and at this point to a higher standard, because he's becoming the face of the franchise. Absolutely. I'm totally for critiquing him, but let's not drag him the same way that we drag Julius Randle, because why we drag Randle is a lack of effort. It's a lack of consistency. It's his emotional state. It's what between the ears. That's the opposite of RJ. RJ has a bad night. He bounces back and gives you 25 in the next game. I love RJ's mental fortitude, because it doesn't matter how bad he's played. He's going to give you the best effort he possibly can and facilitating for his teammates and playing defense on the other end. Yeah, that must be remembered.
And you know what too? When I'm gonna say this about Randle, I'm gonna just keep my eye open. I'm keeping my eye open. He imploded last season. Every time there's a rough patch, every time there's a long road trip, every time things aren't going his way, I'm going to keep my eye on him. I'm going to see if he's going to keep that smile on his face. I'm going to see if he's going to keep playing hard. I'm going to see his attitude. But so far, so good. Is after 10 games in, it seems like Randle is committed to changing as well. We kind of forget he's still in his 20s too sometimes.
Yeah, he looks like someone's uncle.
Yeah, like he looks like Uncle Randle, but he's like 26. He's like a vet, but he's like a young vet, so it's weird. It's very weird. But
I see the chat. I see the chat. I see you, Nick Yak. He likes RJ, but okay, criticize Randle. Listen, I agree with you. But to me, what I criticize Randall the most is not his playing on the court. It's a mental
Yeah, it's
fortitude.
the mental stuff.
How he's able to withstand droughts in his game, to stand long, losing stretches. I don't see that same thing from RJ. I never have since he came into us as a rookie in the 2019 draft. So I'm also have openly said we should criticize RJ's efficiency and his shooting splits, no doubt. But I never have to worry about criticizing RJ's effort or mental fortitude.
Yeah, that was me too. I didn't like the way Randall seemingly treated the team last season on the court, didn't celebrate with them, had like a negative. I don't like any of that.
Yeah.
But so far got so good this season. I'll just hoping that keeps going. That train keeps going up, and I'll take it. I'll take it if it's trending that way.
Same here. If we end up keeping Randall, to me, that's not like a major failure. I am a huge proponent of us trading before the deadline to get a great return back because of this increased role that he's had and a better attitude. But if we end up keeping him and we keep playing him and Obi to close out 4 quarters, hey, man, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it's all about Obi. Like, Obi played 25 minutes today. Like, let's keep that train going. That's probably not going to be, possible with Mitch back, but we'll see. We will see. And if Obi keeps producing, it'll make something like that easier to do, and maybe we can trade, move Randall for like high-powered, high-octane wing or something. I don't know. That might be ideal. But yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got for the show today. All right. Salute to the chat. Shout out to Nick Yak. Everybody else is rocking with the show. If you're liking the show, and if you've been here for a long time, hey, listen. If you've been here multiple times and you have not subscribed, especially if you're watching this at damn near 1 a.m. in the morning, what are you doing? Bruh. Hit that subscribe button, dog. You know you want to come back because you're always here. Hit that subscribe button, all right? And hit the like button while you're at it to help us get to the top and help spread the word that KOT is here and that you're enjoying the content, all right? Because there's a few ways to support us. One way is super chats. It helps pay bills, helps pay for the phones, writers, and overhead, all that stuff. And the next way is like, subscribe. So we appreciate all support in all forms, all right? All right. That is our show. It is 1 a.m. and I gotta work tomorrow. All right.
Let's go.
All right. Lee, let them know where they can find you, sir.
You can check me out on Twitter @ Lee Escobedo, LEEESCOBEDO. And also got some stuff coming out this week for Deadspin. I'll be covering some games for Post and Toasting, some previews and post-game recaps. Got you. Go follow my man Lee. Nasty Lee Escobedo. Okay. Shout out to my guy. All right, you already know you can find us. You can find us on multiple places. Find us at there you go. You can go to nickoftimeshow.com and get your snapbacks and blue and orange and black and white. You can follow us on the KOT Show on Twitter, the Knick of Time Show on Instagram, and the Knick of Time Show on Facebook. Also, listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Apple. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to us there as well. All right. And also, if you want, you can go to FuboTV.com/KOT. Okay. If you want MSG for free for 7 days, go to FuboTV.com/KOT. And if you decide to keep it, all you gotta do, if you do decide to keep it and actually pay for the service, we get a chunk of that little change. So hopefully you do that and you go through FuboTV.com/KOT. Oh, we got a super chat.
Oh, we got a super chat? Oh.
JT Reddit.
Shout out to my guy, JT. Says, yeah, great win. # all 82. Shout out to my guy, 1 a.m. crew talking Knicks. Y'all crazy like us. I appreciate y'all. All right.
Let's
go. All right. Good show, Lee. This is the first time we did like a 2-person show. I think so.
Yeah. First of many.
All right. But it's time to wrap it up. So you already know the deal is, guys.
Shout out to Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks YouTube and Twitter streets. That is our show. We out of here. Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.